What's up guys, Mike here, and today we are back with another video. This time we're talking about Derrick Rose. Now, as a Bulls fan, I've been extremely close to Derrick Rose's struggles as a player since his first injury. I mentioned this in some previous videos, but since Derrick was drafted by the Bulls, he's been my favorite player in the NBA. I've cheered for him more than any other athlete since I started watching sports in general. And when things have gone great for him, I've honestly felt really happy for him. But then, well, you know.
The year is 2012 and Derrick Rose is on top of the basketball world. Just last season, he had become the youngest MVP in the history of the NBA while leading his Bulls to the first seed in the East and an Eastern Conference Finals appearance in just his third season as a pro. In December, he went on to sign a 5-year contract extension with Chicago for $95 million, as the NBA created a rule named the Derrick Rose Rule to allow young superstars to earn more money if they proved to be incredibly successful in their first few years. And then in 2012, Rose again led his Chicago Bulls to the top seed in the Eastern Conference and looked determined to take the next step to defeat LeBron in the Eastern Conference Finals and go on to win his first NBA championship. And then in game 1 of the playoffs, with the Bulls up by 12 points with just under a minute and a half left, Derrick Rose went down. The injury was serious. He had a torn ACL in his left knee and he would never be the same. Once the youngest MVP in NBA history, Derrick Rose would spend the next 4 years as a shell of his former self. He has yet to make another All-Star team. He has yet to return to the Eastern Conference Finals. He didn't even make the playoffs last season.
But here's the thing, it's not too late for Derrick Rose to turn everything around and return to his former greatness. It's not too late to go from the player that others are already saying will be the first MVP in NBA history to not make the Hall of Fame, to a player who turns everything around, has a great second half to his career, and makes the Hall of Fame. Derrick Rose will begin the 2017 NBA season as a 28-year-old veteran who almost no one believes in, who no one thinks will ever be able to capture his former greatness. Which is interesting because there is a great example of a player coming back from several years of injuries to reinvent himself in recent NBA history. I'm talking, of course, about Grant Hill.
As a 27-year-old, Grant Hill was a multiple-time All-Star, a multiple-time selection to the All-NBA team, and a consensus top 10 player in the league. His next 4 years should have been the best of his career, but instead, they were an absolute nightmare. Grant Hill suffered injury after injury and played in only 47 games in the next 4 seasons. And after those 4 seasons, many had written off Grant Hill, assuming that his body was quitting on him. But Hill would prove all of his doubters wrong. After missing the entire 2004 season with injuries, Grant Hill returned in the 2005 season and made the All-Star team. From there, he went on to have several successful seasons, starting for some awesome Phoenix Suns teams, and eventually retired at the age of 40.
Which to me proves that Derrick Rose can have a mostly healthy career from here on out. Now, I'm not saying he definitely will, I'm just saying that it's possible. Which brings us to an even greater question: can Derrick Rose return to his MVP form? And I think it's possible. In fact, I think the trade to the Knicks sets Derrick up for what should be his best season since he began to suffer from injuries.
Because I think that leaving Chicago is the best thing that could have possibly happened to Derrick. I think the last few years of his life have been full of pressure and disappointment. Since he returned from injury, fans of the Chicago Bulls have expected him to eventually return to MVP form. They've expected the man who was once anointed the hometown hero to lead Chicago to its first championship season since Michael Jordan. And these expectations were the last thing that Derrick Rose needed, when the only thing on his mind should have been regaining his health and proving that he can still play at a high level on an NBA basketball court. Which is why Derrick's move to the Knicks is really the perfect situation for him. Fans of the Knicks do not expect Derrick to take the ball and immediately begin the year as an MVP candidate. In fact, they'll just be happy with an above-average point guard, as the point guard situation has been absolutely abysmal in New York for the last several years. If D-Rose can just put up some nice stat lines and run the offense efficiently, he will already be a roaring success. And speaking of stats, I think all of these signs are there that this is the season in which Derrick Rose will again begin to put up great numbers. For one thing, his teammates certainly believe in him, as just a few weeks ago, Porzingis was quoted as saying, "He's still got it. He's still Derrick Rose." And so it will be exciting to play with him. And this makes sense because after the 2016 All-Star break, Rose played the best basketball of his career since since his injury. Remember, D spent the first half of the 2016 season with an eye injury that caused him to have double vision on the court, so his early shooting percentages were obviously going to be down. But as you can see, once his injury healed after the All-Star break, Rose noticeably increased his scoring average and shooting percentages. Specifically, look at his three-point percentage. If Derrick can continue to shoot the three ball at a similar percentage, then defenses will be forced to guard him closer, and thus the rest of his game will open up. To me, this is a sign of great things to come for Derrick in a Knicks jersey, as Knicks fans will be ecstatic if Rose is able to replicate his second half stats for the entire 2017 season. And as for the Knicks, this season finds the roster with the potential for New York to grow into a real contender in the Eastern Conference. People have made jokes stating that this would be one of the best teams in basketball in 2011, but we might soon be forced to take the Knicks very seriously. With Derrick Rose, Courtney Lee, Carmelo Anthony, Kristaps Porzingis, and Joakim Noah in the starting lineup, the Knicks have the potential to play with anyone. Lee gives the Knicks shooting and defense from the 2 spot. Melo is fresh off a gold medal win and should carry this momentum into an awesome 2017 season. Porzingis has the potential to become one of the most dangerous big men in NBA history, and at the very least, Noah will provide the Knicks with a proven leader and a defensive presence around the rim. With all of this said, New York's main concern this season is of course injuries. But if everything goes right, if this starting 5 is able to stay on the court, the Knicks are a dangerous team in 2017. Just ask Derrick, who said, "I think we have a chance to win every game, and in this league, that's rare." Which does not mean that he thinks the Knicks will go 82-0. It simply means that he believes that the Knicks can beat anyone on any given night, and I believe him.
And finally, with all of this said, I think the best thing that happened to Derrick Rose with his trade to the Knicks is that he loses Jimmy Butler as a teammate. Look, I definitely have nothing against Jimmy, I just don't think him and Derrick fit well together on the court. They both want the ball in their hands, they both want to run the offense. And when both of them were on the court together, you could tell that they both weren't happy with how things were going, and there was definitely some tension there. I think it's best for both players that they get a clean start this season. And finally, with us at the end of the video, I just want to say that I did feel a little weird about making this video with Derrick Rose's ongoing court case. I've read up on the case, and it definitely does not paint Derrick Rose in a good light. But this is a basketball channel, and Derrick Rose has the potential to be one of the biggest basketball storylines of this season. So I wanted to make a video on this topic, and I hope you enjoyed it. With that somber tone out of the way, if you are new to this channel, I hope you subscribe. We make basketball videos here. We look at what ifs, we look at conspiracies, we look at basketball history. Basically, if it's a cool or interesting topic and it has something to do with the NBA or basketball, I will make a video on it. So if you love basketball, I definitely think you'd love to subscribe, and I'd love to have you here. And to the people who are already subscribed, thank you guys so much for supporting me. I'll say it every video, you guys are the best subscribers I can ever ask for. So thank you for your support, and as always, my dudes, have an awesome day, and cue the music.